Perhaps no group is being vilified in the debt debate more than the Tea Party. They're called hostage takers and terrorists by members of the Democratic Party, which just months ago was demanding civility in political rhetoric and discourse. But despite the Democrats' name-calling, this may be the Tea Party's big political break. Now, the group showed its influence over Washington's discourse by forcing Republicans to include a balanced budget amendment in the debt legislation. Now, the big question now is, will the Tea Party be able to exert the same power in the upcoming presidential election and become a viable political alternative in the long run? Joining me with reaction from the Fox Business Network, Sandra Smith is back. She's been out. And did you mad at us or something? You haven't been here?
I'm back.
All right. And former McCain advisor and author of the sex thriller, 18 Acres, which is now out in paperback. Nicole Wallace is here. I know your father hates me.
It's not really a sex thriller.
Listen, you keep saying that. It's about the first female president.
Right.
Whose husband, who has the affair?
Her husband has an affair with a reporter.
That's a sex thriller.
But her reporter wouldn't have been one of those that, she would like the Tea Party.
This is like liberals. Liberals don't want to be called liberals. We have plenty of liberals on the program. They don't want.
Well, if I'd written a sex thriller, I'd be proud of it.
It's about the first dude having an affair. That's a sex thriller.
The first dude is a philanderer, but it's about the first female president and her bold principled leadership. She's got clarity of vision like Margaret Thatcher. You would like her.
I do like her. I think she's great. I feel sorry for her. Should have married somebody better.
Should have married someone faithful.
Right. Let's talk about all the name calling. And by the way, we have one other, Joe Biden to Gabby Giffords. We're both members of the Cracked Head Club.
Oh, God.
A woman got shot in the head. It was really a great moment when she showed up the other day. The Cracked Head Club. This is how we refer to Gabby Giffords.
That's unfortunate.
Unfortunate?
Well, no, it's unfortunate that he would characterize her in that way when she makes this great comeback and looks strong and everybody's happy to see her. Come on. Let's use some tact.
I bet his wife and his boss both wish they had one of those 7-second delay buttons for Joe Biden.
Yeah, they tried that on another network. It didn't work out too well. I got suspended. Don't ever believe. And I have a 35-second delay in radio. All right. So I think in the end here, the big loser in all of this is President Obama. In this sense, first of all, he's indecisive. He's not a leader. All the attention of the country, whether you like the deal or don't like the deal, is focused on the fact that this president spent far beyond what any other president in history has spent. I think that is now a huge liability for him.
Yeah, and that's why the Tea Party's gained so much traction. Everybody wants the United States to get their fiscal situation in order, their fiscal house in order, period. Right. We have seen both parties unable to put their differences aside and come together with a solution to do so. That's what's making so much room for the Tea Party to come in here. Nobody's offering a solution. I don't know, Sean. I don't know that this only rests on President Obama's shoulders. We are looking at two parties that weren't able to come together.
But I got to tell you, the debt in 2007, President Bush, was $173 billion. This year, again under Obama, $1.65 trillion. It's like 5 times. Under President Bush's, you were there, worst year, it was $400 billion.
The one big difference was President Bush was wholly focused and deeply committed to a pro-growth agenda, which was part of his strategy for dealing with the deficit. President Obama has advocated only policies that have seemed to contract our growth. I'll say this, though, about the Tea Party. Their power is derived from the fact that independent voters in this country are the most emotionally aligned with Republicans and the Tea Party on this issue of the size and the cost of the federal government.
See, this is interesting because you are not as big a social conservative as I am. You're more, I don't write sex thrillers. But you're sorry, I can't help it.
I know you
gonna
can't.
Hate me. All right, but you're not as much a social conservative as I am, right? I
think that's correct.
All right, so. But look at these numbers. We're going to get Friday job numbers. You follow the business closely. Yeah. Consumer spending plunges, to record lows. Gold, $16.50 an ounce. The Dow, 8 days in a row down. They're talking about more tax increases. You look at all of these issues. Obama promises now to focus on jobs. I'm like, where have you been for 3 years?
3 years in?
Yeah, and then hosting the party in Chicago, the birthday party, and it's
How many private jets are there?
What the concern is voters are going to be very emotional. So when you ask about what's going to happen with the upcoming election and where we stand today, it could be very different, Sean, in a couple of months here. It's going to depend on the economic indicators at that moment.
You know what Larry Summers said? Larry Summers says it's doubtful that we're going to get out of this economic mess through the end of 2012.
Right, but the White House came out today and said there's no double-dip recession in sight. Hard to say when there's no job creation.
Wait a minute, layoffs just hit a 16-month high, and we just were downgraded last quarter growth, what, 0.4%?
Right. I think another lesson of this debate that's just transpired is that there are no more arbiters of truth in Washington anymore. I mean, I think that the public wasn't disregarding the seriousness of defaulting on the nation's debt. They just weren't sure they believed anything that anyone in Washington said anymore.
Yeah. Look, I had people on both sides hating my guts in this debate because I kept pointing out a fundamental truth that if you don't deal, and we dealt with this earlier in the program with Connie Mack, if you don't deal with this built-in 8% growth every year in government, we're never going to bounce back.
They're fake cuts, you know.
Yeah, they're fake cuts. That's a perfect word.
It's like pig Latin. You know, only in Washington is a lesser increase in spending.
You are so good.
You know, called a cut. Well, you know, working for a president, working for any president, you have to defend a lesser increase against all the interest groups in Washington that jump up and down and put off the alarms that you've made a cut.
Did you read her sex throw?
You know what? I did. I got through the first half of it, and I well, no. Okay, wait, hold on.
I gave you the ending.
I flipped it. I totally cheated, and I have to. I cheated reading the cheating book.
I cheated reading by going to the end. I can't tell you how many times I do that because I don't have time to finish it.
I know. I fall in the same. Yeah, fall in the same category.
Thank you,
Mr. Wallace. I apologize. I am humbly sorry. It was all done in great promotion of your daughter's fantastic book. All right.
He hasn't even read it.
It is fantastic.
He better not. And coming up, last night on the show, Governor Sarah Palin had some harsh words for the anointed one and even took a swipe at Mitt Romney. But what did she say that has everybody fired up? When we come back, Michelle Malkin, she's here with Reaction. That's next.